Ian Taylor is currently the Parish Priest of the St. Charles Parish. However, he would have served at the St. Francis of Assisi Parish for the period 2005 to 2008. So, welcome, Father.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
My first question to you, Father. What were your thoughts, or what was your thought when you were told you were coming to St. Francis?
I was away at the time. I was on sabbatical in California, San Diego to be specific. And I knew that I was not returning to Moruga, from whence I had left. And so I knew any parish would be possible, and I was prepared. I always said I would go where I'm sent. But when they told me Grande, they didn't mention Grande alone. They mentioned that I would be chaplain of the prison as well. Then I wrote the bishop, I said, with 8 communities in Grande and the prisons, I said, is one of them wouldn't be seeing me? And so he removed the prison chaplaincy.
So, having arrived at Sangre Grande, would you consider that one of your major challenges, or were there others?
No, Grande I was happy for. One, because I knew that charismatic priests had been there before. You had Father Trevor Nattasingh, you had Father Neil Rodriguez, who at one point was my spiritual director. But I knew also that Grande had kind of gone cold. I know it had not continued. And so I was happy to come to help revive that spirituality. Because I firmly believe that the people need that spirituality, they benefit from it, and it's just life-giving.
And what was the response?
Very good. I think it was like water on a parched land. And they were very welcoming. Although I was fully aware that Father Nattasingh continued with his community at the home that he had there, nevertheless, the people wanted this life in the parish itself. So although they were part of a committee, many of them, they wanted to see their parish also come alive. So one of the things we did was a Life in the Spirit seminar. I think something like 480 people did that Life in the Spirit seminar. It was one of the largest seminars probably been ever done in the country, but it showed how hungry they were.
So you think that having done a Life in the Spirit seminar at the parish, you would have done some sort of revival in the people?
Right, and the people themselves, of course many people had done the seminar before, but there was a need for a renewal, right? It was a refresher for many. It was a breath of fresh air. And so I knew that they just needed somebody to activate this thing. We were able to find all the leaders for discussion group because many people were already leaders, you see, and yourself being one of them. And I must say that I got already welcomed there, and I never felt a stranger in Grande or upstaging anyone. And I tried to allow everything that was thriving there to continue, including Father Nattasingh's ministry with his community.
So there may be, you may have had many unforgettable memories, but could you recall one in particular that you would consider to be significant?
Right. Well, let's see now. I think, although I was only there for 3 years, and you must bear that in mind, I had plans, of course, to do a lot more. Let's take the youth ministry. Whenever I go to a church, I look to see if there are youths, first of all, if there are, and how many. When I arrived there, I found that the youth ministry was dying. In fact, the first meeting I called, the youth leaders resigned. So I said, okay, we have a problem here. But I realized that there was a lack of leadership for the youth. And I suppose a general lackluster in the congregation at that particular time, which was also evident in the youth. So I decided I'd have to work with him. But I never believed in the priest doing everything. You must co-opt the lay people. And so this is where John, right, Keith John, correct, stepped up to the plate, you know, and his wife. And I said, okay, good. And Zobida was also around, also very helpful. And we began to rebuild the youth ministry. And that was a tremendous thing to see youths again, and youths on fire. And then when I would hold camps, like the Carnival camp and retreats, the youths were alive and again on fire. So I could see the parish was coming alive. Because you don't have youth, the parish dies. You see, a good sign of a parish that is alive is a growing youth ministry.
Do you think that presently, now
Yeah.
moving away from the parish a bit, that the youth ministry, young adult ministry in general is alive in the church today?
It depends, it seems, on if the priest is alive. Or if there are leaders who can keep the youth alive and on fire. I think it is not well understood that you must have a youth ministry. I don't think that most priests who go into a parish think that way. They think they must minister to the congregation before them. But when I went even to where I am now, and I saw the age of the congregation and the absence of youth, I said, no, something has to be done here. And I immediately began to work on the youth. So I think that priests must consider, if you don't see youth, that is a problem. Right? You can't be happy that you have a full congregation. If you don't see youth, then know that your church is already dying. So that's a serious indicator of either a growing church or a dying church, the presence or absence of youth.
So how would you distinguish between a youth group or a young adult group in church and any other secular youth group?
Yes.
How would you distinguish?
That's a good point, because that's another thing. A number of people who work with youth think that youths don't want too much spirituality. They think, give them sports, take them on hikes, give them parties, take them carnival, and that sort of a thing. I think that is a great misunderstanding of the need that youth have. Just as anybody else, youths are spiritual, first and foremost, they're emotional and they're physical. So we're tripartite. And if you don't tap into the spiritual, you impoverish them. My experience, anywhere I have been, anywhere, this includes California as well. I remember there was a young man who was in atheist. And now, America has quite a number of these people among the youths. And his mother just told him, come to one mass that this priest has. And when he came to that mass, the boy was amazed that the church was alive. And then he began to investigate the church. The boy subsequently not only gave his life to Jesus, the man became a missionary in China. Yes, a young man, he was an atheist. Yes. So I'm telling you, people misunderstand the youth issue. And you question. Youth want Jesus probably even more than the adults. You see, because the adults already have that background of church and God. So they could, bit by bit, come around to it. But youth need it now for all that they have to face. And life in general. I met a little boy just yesterday when I went to give a talk at the prayer group. And about 10 years old, I overheard him telling another person, an adult, life is difficult. When he's 10 years old, I said, my God, in 10 years life is difficult for him. And I realized that little boy also needs to know Jesus. And he needs to know Jesus in a personal way so that he can hand over his difficulties to him, And I found it with the girls and with the boys and all the age groups. When you put them onto Jesus, you solve most of your problems right there. Because we could have counselors, we could have priests, we could have anybody to walk around with mentors or whatever you want to call them. If you don't put them onto Jesus, then you are the burden bearer. And that ain't going to work. They need Jesus because he is the life giver. And he loves them.
You would have mentioned earlier that you would have spent 3 years.
Yes.
Normally it would be about 5 years.
5, 6 years.
5, 6 years.
So what happened there, a good friend of mine, Father Moses, passed away in San Rafael Parish. In fact, he'd been hospitalized, and so other priests were doing weekend ministry in his parish. Now, the people there demanded a charismatic priest, and not just any charismatic priest. They said they want Taylor because Taylor is Moses' friend. well, I didn't even know all of this. But when I got the call from the bishop, I was told, you are going there because the people demanded that you be there. And I promised them they'll have you. So I as much as I wanted to continue to work in Grande, I realized, and I had been visiting them doing their prayer meetings, but never thinking that I would become their parish priest. I was willing to help them on occasion. but realizing that Grande was doing pretty well when I left it. And Grande, as I say, has already leaders who are formed, very well formed and so on. So I knew they could manage themselves. And in fact, Grande had sent a team while Father Moses was there to do Life in the Spirit seminar for the youths in the parish. And they had brought San Rafael to life for Father Moses. You see? So there was an interchange between the two communities. So when I left, although as I say, I still had the attachment to Grande, I saw there was a greater need at San Rafael.
So we would have spoken about revival of the parish, we would have spoken about revival of the youth.
Yes.
What would you consider to be your greatest accomplishment leaving after a 3-year period?
Yeah. Well, I think if you leave a church alive and you leave leaders, you have accomplished much, because then it can continue. And I'd like to say this on a general note. Bishops and priests who are on councils that make decisions about appointments need to take note that they should allow life to continue wherever life is generated. So in other words, you don't send a priest who will kill the life that was there before. There need to be, as a secular would say, succession planning, and there needs to be continuity. Because this has happened from parish to parish. You go one place, you put it on fire, then the next fellow comes, he hold the fire. And the people often scatter, or the people are wandering, looking for food somewhere. The church is unfortunately being unproductive this way. And if we look at the other churches where there's continuity, because often you have one pastor continuing for several years, and that spirituality continues. We have to be honest, I think, also that, let's put Father Rodi Mohammed, he just died. I think this is a good example. Father Rodi Mohammed, when he was in Arima, this day he was assistant in Arima now, not in the earlier days when he was in Arima. He said to Archbishop Gilbert, he said, you know, we need to find out what the people want. So Archbishop Gilbert said, well, all right, you're a retired priest, go around the parishes, you have my permission, and inquire of the people what they want. Father Rudy said, the first thing that happened to him was, he did a mass there in Arima, and at the end of the mass, he said, give it his all. The people came to him and said, Father, you ever get baptized in the Holy Spirit? So he's shocked, he said, but give them a best. And that's what made him start thinking, what do the people want? And when he went around to all the parishes, he went back to Archbishop Gilbert and he said, the people want charismatic spirituality. That's what they want. They want life. And that spirituality gives it. And the church has sanctioned that spirituality. It is not a group. It is not just a movement. It is a move of the Holy Spirit. It is the renewal of the Spirit as a Pentecost. And that ought to happen to the whole church. The whole church. In other words, people should be able to find that in any parish they go. They shouldn't have to run from parish to parish. People sometimes lament, and priests often lament, that the people are parish hopping. But if you're not giving them the grass here, they will go where they can get it. And if you're not giving them the Spirit, they will go where they can get it. So don't complain. Grow the grass and bring the Spirit. And that is needed. So I do hope that the new Archbishop, who himself is a product of the Life in the Spirit seminar, of the charismatic renewal, will take note and implement some policies for continuity and succession planning, as well as policies by which the priests themselves can come into the power of the Holy Spirit, so that we won't have to discern between one priest and another, but they will all have the Spirit.
Finally, Father, if you are to describe the parish of St. Francis of Assisi to any brother priest who may be placed here, what would you say?
I'd say a parish of great potential. First of all, the last census when I was there was 1,000 people. So that's a sizable parish. Secondly, you have a large church. So you have potential for expansion, right, in numbers. And I've seen that happen with upstairs, quite a lot of fill, and downstairs, and the wings, and so on. So that church has real potential. Just give them the right pastors, and that church will be on fire and can be a beacon of light for the whole archdiocese.
Thank you very much, Father Ian. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.